if you thought that Peter Seidler was going to bash AJ Preller publicly in this article, I think you were mistaken just going into the article, and you were going to be disappointed. But there were some things, like, it's okay to express optimism, like you're going to do that as the chairman of the team, and especially when you're like the most optimistic guy on the planet, right? He and Ted Lasso are right up there with each other, I would say. So we knew that he was not going to bash AJ Preller. Not going to happen. But there were some things where it was like, did you need to say that? Were some things, after he expressed the optimism, he said some things where it was like, man, AJ's gonna be here beyond this year, isn't he? He's gonna get more of a leash if they don't make the postseason. There's still, and it's like, really, Peter really thinks this? He really thinks this, huh? Here's the quote that obviously was mind-blowing. Is that the right word? It stood out. I'm not afraid to make changes. I never have been. So there, I'm like, okay, not afraid to make changes. Okay. That's good. Good to put in the back pocket. But then he says, but I really value stability. And when I know the person as well, and the skill set as well as I know AJ and Eric, they're not going anywhere. Period. I believe in stability. It is something that is undervalued, generally speaking, in organizations, and maybe particularly in sports franchises. But I'm not for mediocre stability. I'm for excellence. And get this. And to me, AJ is excellence. Excuse me? Excellence? I'm not someone that hates AJ player. I'm not someone that hates AJ Preller. For anyone that knows, I had my mom actually make a shirt that was up or was inspired by that shirt. It's up on Breaking Tea probably still. AJ Preller is a legend after he made that Juan Soto trade last year. Had the guts to do that. And everyone was excited about it, right? Like I'm someone that has backed AJ Preller. But the results have to speak louder than AJ and Seidler's relationship with one another. They have to speak louder than the splash moves that AJ makes. AJ has made the postseason twice as the GM of the San Diego Padres, starting in 2015. I know he was hired in 2014, but starting in 2015. Twice. He tried in 15, that failed, had to go through a rebuild. 2020, by the way, one of two postseason appearances, it was in a short season. Who knows if the Padres would have made the postseason if it was a full 2020 season. And they got swept by the Dodgers. 2022, based on the results, seems like that's an outlier. 2022 has been sandwiched between 2021, which is a huge collapse, embarrassing collapse, and 2023, the most disappointing season in Padres franchise history as of now, with all the hype around this team, fan fest, the superstars. So for me, that doesn't say excellence. That Peter Seidler and I have different definitions of excellence then, if we're basing it off of results. Now, Seidler, he might not be basing it off of results, and he knows AJ more than I do, more than all of us do in terms of like personal conversations. He probably talks to Preller, if not every day, definitely multiple times a week, every other day. Like they have a great relationship, obviously. But again, it should be about the results. And 2 postseason appearances, 1 postseason appearance in a full season in 8 years. Now he's on his 9th season here. That's not good enough. Isn't that mediocre stability? Or even worse than mediocre stability? Because mediocre stability is maybe, not getting to the promised land, but you're making the postseason maybe every other year. Like there's consistency, right? You're not the Dodgers, not that type of stability, or the Rays or something like that, or the Astros. But hey, every couple years you're making the postseason. It's there. With AJ, for the majority of the tenure, it has not been there. And I know last year was great. It was great. I loved it. I loved the moves that he made. They made it to the NLCS. That was great. But it's also funny that he talks about stability, and I believe in stability. And he's let AJ Preller hire Andy Green and fire him. He's allowed him to hire Jace Tingler and fire him. And he's allowed him to hire Bob Melvin, which it seems like Seidler wanted. And if Melvin is the guy that ends up taking this and he's the one that has to go because of this, that will make me go insane. Because this is not on Bob Melvin. He's made some bad moves, but it's not on Bob Melvin. And it has to be on the roster that this guy constructed. And I like the roster for the most part going into the year. So maybe I'm being a hypocrite here. But again, the results have to be the results. 2022, again, it seems like that is an outlier. 2020 was a short season. 2019, you had guys giving up, including Manny at the end of the year. 2021, collapse. 2022, okay, postseason. 2023, most embarrassing season, most disappointing season in San Diego Padres history so far, the way it's playing out. How does that, seriously, how does that show excellence? That's excellence? I totally disagree with Peter Seidler on that. Maybe AJ is an excellent communicator with Peter. Is that what he's talking about? Because, again, the results on the field, that's not excellence. It's not. If things turn out the way that it seems like they're going to turn out this year, which is no postseason appearance, and AJ stays, why? How many chances are you going to give this guy, Peter? And I love Peter Seidler. This is the best owner of my lifetime, obviously. And this is the best owner that probably a lot older Padres fans have ever had in their lifetime. Someone that's willing to spend a ton of money on players and invest in this team. And he's actually a fan of the team and cares. He's not just viewing this as a business. He does care. I love that. And I love him. But it feels like one of his blind spots is AJ. He just has this blind faith in AJ Preller, regardless of what the results are going to say at the end of this season. And so I'm hoping that this was just him talking to Kevin Acee and saying, yeah, of course, I think AJ is excellent, and not really believing it, just saying it because he's not going to bash AJ. Hopefully he means it when he told Kevin here, I'm not afraid to make changes. I never have been. Hopefully that is like the truth. Not afraid to make changes, never have been. Hopefully right there, that's what he actually means that when the season's over, if this team doesn't make the postseason.